Okay, so the team building section of this video is going to be quite long, but I just find it really interesting. So we have the first team. It's a two-team comp. 3, 4, and 5, they couldn't be backups, but if you need a backup, I think the run is cooked anyway. So starting with the core of the team, Black Lemonade. So I don't think I've ever had a chance to properly explain how Black Lemonade works. So this should be a good time to do it. So you read through all her skill, there's all that text, and the only thing that matters is the Electrifying Rock Spirit. It's a 15-second duration, and it says that every time you crit, you deal about 60% of Black Lemonade's attack. Now here's the special thing about the effect. It stacks infinitely, plus whenever you apply it again, it refreshes the durations of the stacks. So you can actually reach infinite damage as long as you time your Black Lemonade skills properly so that they don't time out in between waves. You want the rest of your DPSs to be running crit. The builds I have right now are a bit messed up because I've been pushing Arena instead of Alliance, just redoing it. So listen to the builds, well not listen, listen to the builds I'm saying now, and for a point of reference, look at the builds at the end of the video. With Black Lemonade, you want about 35% cooldown. I have a little bit lower, you can get away with that. And then you want full electric damage on her Biscuit, because the Electrifying Rock Spirit proc scales off of Black Lemonade's attack and electric damage, but it scales off of the crit damage of the character activating while dealing the critical hits. It's a bit weird, but for the purposes of this team, it doesn't matter. So you want close to 35 cooldown and as much electric damage and attack as possible. And for substats, prioritize damage resist over everything. Ideally, if you have a 4 electric damage biscuit, you do 4 electric damage and then 6 cooldown. But because I have a 3 electric and 1 cooldown biscuit, I can actually run 5 cooldown and then a raspberry tart. So, since Black Lemonades are win condition, we need to build our team to support Black Lemonade, which is where Stormbringer and Eternal Sugar come in. So Stormbringer is really strong here because she buffs Black Lemonade by giving her 50 DR through her crit buff. So that makes Black Lemonade super tanky because remember, Black Lemonade has 2023 epic stats with no damage resist in her kit. So on top of that, she also provides a lot of crowd control and a lot of damage. And because Overcurrent is a DOT that has a chance to stun every time it activates, you will also go through the wave stages quite easily since the enemies barely move and barely attack, so it's super easy for your healers to out-heal the damage. So for her, you want crit up to 120% after buffs. After buffs including Marshmallow Bunny's 15%, I believe. Yep. And then the Ice Artifact, which gives up to 20% depending on the level. And then the Whistle, which is 15% crit for your entire team. So take that into account. And then afterwards, all else into cooldown and damage resist. And if you manage to hit the crit cap, you can put in almonds in place of not raspberries. What is up with me today? Apple jellies on her build. Yeah. And plus 10 helps, like 15% crit means that you can run more damage resist, and plus 20 does help because, well, you just get more damage resist and more HP. But aside from that, it's not really necessary. You should be fine with a plus 1, considering most people watching this should have better stats than I do. So, next up we have Eternal Sugar. You want to be running 35 cooldown. That is very important for the Pitaya boss and the Lion boss on wave 8. And you also want to run as much crit as possible, and some damage resist helps. Eternal Sugar has a decent amount of hits, I believe 14 hits plus some other stuff I'm not too sure about. But more importantly, she gives the entire team damage up, and she can stun bosses. This is really important, especially if you have around the same stats as I do, because your healers and your Black Lemonade is not keeping up with the boss's big attacks. Like, the beam attacks from wave 8 and wave 12 are deadly, but you can cancel them if you time Eternal Sugar correctly, so stay tuned for the run. You want a full cooldown Biscuit on her. Poison damage isn't good on her with this team because none of the damage is coming from Eternal Sugar herself, it's coming from Black Lemonade. So prioritize cooldown, crit, and then any leftover stats into damage resist. Then afterwards we have the healers of choice, which are Pure Vanilla and Marshmallow Bunny. So Pure Vanilla, you want full damage resist on him, like actually full damage resist. Crit, cooldown, attack, HP helps. But the main thing is, he gets a decent bit of cooldown for building damage resist, which is really nice. But more importantly, he has that ferret emergency heal where whenever a cookie falls under 50% HP, he does a big heal on them. So the main thing with this is that if you build full damage resist on Pure Vanilla, he should stay topped up like basically all the time. So he never wastes that emergency heal on himself and uses it on like Stormbringer if you're stalling out the waves, or Black Lemonade because Black Lemonade 15% cooldown should cap him since you have Watch, but a little bit more doesn't hurt because you have the cooldown up debuff from waves 12 to 16. And then finally, we have Marshmallow Bunny. So Marshmallow Bunny is a safeguarded cookie, which means you don't need any damage resist at all. And then she gives really strong buffs. 25% damage resist, 17% attack, and then another 25% or higher attack since you need around 25 amp buff. And then all element crit damage, which is really nice because that's the main way of amplifying Black Lemonade's damage. And then extra crit for everyone, which means you have to run less crit on Stormbringer and Eternal Sugar. With her, you want to hit 25 amplify buff and everything else into cooldown. Attack and crit and attack speed all help as well. Yeah. An important thing to note, because I was running Mystic Flower instead of Marshmallow Bunny here, because my justification was, oh, I can take the weaker offensive power in place of Mystic Flower giving a lot of damage resist, debuff resist, and big heals and overcapped healing into shields. But the thing is, Marshmallow Bunny's buffs also apply to Pure Vanilla, the attack up, the damage resist, the crit, which means Pure Vanilla will actually be healing a lot more compared to a double healer setup, even if he wasn't nerfed by Mystic Flower. Treasures, you want Watch Whistle Scroll, that's just the standard. You want Whistle gives everyone crit, and then the two highest attack cookies in the team damage resist, which should be Black Lemonade and Eternal Sugar. Make sure Stormbringer isn't stealing it because Black Lemonade really does need the damage resist. And then attack helps healing, attack helps damage, same reason why Scroll is there. Attack helps healing, attack helps damage, and then Watch allows you to cap cooldown, and cooldown is really important here. So yeah, this team is very tight-knit. There's not really any substitutions you can do. Pure Vanilla also helps a lot here because not only is he the best healer in the game, arguably, he also is the only healer with anti-injury, which is important against the Stardust boss. And on top of that, the revive is okay. It's actually not too required, I would say, but it's always there, so it could save you in a pinch. He also provides amplify buff and 25%, I believe, yeah, and that extends the durations of buffs, which means it's a lot easier to maintain the ERS uptime. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. For the rally, unless you have really good stats, Pure Vanilla Rally is significantly better because not dying is a lot better than Stormbringer doing a little bit more damage. Then on the second team, meanwhile, while the first team was incredibly tight-knit, the second team is just whatever. So first, I believe actually all of these can be replaced. So the point of the second team is that on waves 5 and 6, the enemies have some like wacky debuffs. Sleep, error, and then that can reduce your max HP, deal a lot of damage, could actually kill you, which is a bit threatening. And it's actually really difficult to deal with your first team. So the point of this team too is that you're gonna lose your ERS stacks for swapping out, but you're gonna lose your ERS stacks anyway because of the... I've been experiencing that I get errored and then that reduces my movement speed. So then I actually run out of ERS before going to the next wave. So you're gonna lose it anyway, so might as well get a team that clears waves 5 and 6 really consistently. So I get to talk about 100% defense down. So defense down in this game is additive. If you have 50% defense down and then 30%, you get 80%. It's none of those like you reduce that reduced amount. So instead of going from 100 to 50 to 20, you go to 100 to 50 and then 35. So, which means you can actually hit 100% defense down really easily, because Rebel himself already gives 84%. Yeah, so you need any source of defense down that's at least 16%. So I have Donut, which is actually really, really good in this comp specifically, because they provide defense reduction that caps Rebel's defense down, and the amplification from 84% to 100% is nuts. It's legitimately like 3 or 4 times more damage compared to 84%. On top of that, they also have amplified debuffs, which extends the duration of debuffs, which helps with like uptime, stuns. But they also have polymorph, and they have an insanely fast casting skill. And the point of this team is, again, beating waves 5 and 6, but it also needs to not die, because you need to save your revive, especially with low stats. Your Black Lemonade is likely going to die on wave 12, so being able to die, revive, get another skill off, and then stack everyone's ERS up again, instead of waiting for the pure vanilla revive. Maybe you die at an unfortunate time, and then you run out of ERS, and then Black Lemonade revives. So you don't need to deal with that if you preserve your revive. So yeah, so the instant CC and instant defense down that Donut provides is extremely crucial. And then these three are just whatever DPSs and healers will allow you to get rid of waves 5 and 6. Frost Queen should be able to work here in place of Fire Spirit. And with Frost Queen, since she already has her own crowd control, you can replace Donut with Dragon Lord Cacao or Candy Apple. But I think Donut still works pretty good there. And then these two are just leftover healers I have semi-built. I have a random Mystic Flower on my account that I barely use, so I'm just using her because she provides decent healing. Sugarfly also provides decent healing. That's literally about it. This could be like Frost Queen, Cotton, White Lily, for all I care. As long as it gets wave 5 and wave 6 done, you're good. Cooldown is ideal, but I ran full damage resist on these two. Full healing, which is like cooldown and crit, and then full damage resist on the substats. Same thing with, well, Mystic Flower doesn't really need damage resist because she's bulky enough on her own. And you won't be taking too much damage because you should be one-shotting the waves with 100% defense down. And your DPS should have full damage. Just whatever damage. If you're running Frost Queen, go like full Frost damage Biscuit with full Raspberries. If you can't be bothered to roll a Frost damage Biscuit, then just full cooldown. Hell, even no substats on the Biscuit, just a level 30 Biscuit for the 30% attack is good enough. Just whatever gets wave 5 and 6 done. This team is really flexible. So, without further ado, here goes the run. So I mentioned about stalling in the team building section, but I haven't really explained what it was. Basically, since Black Lemonade's damage actually scales with time, since the more time you use up and then let Black Lemonade's cooldown tick down, and then stack up your ERS again, so the more time you use up, the more DPS you actually get. So what you can do is, depending on the damage of the wave, if you can out-heal the damage, then you just don't use Eternal Sugar or Stormbringer, and just use your healers and Black Lemonade so that she gets more ERS stacks, so you're more prepared for boss stages. So you can kill it faster before the boss gains more attack and then kills you, yada yada. So this boss is actually really, really annoying. I don't know why, but sometimes my Eternal Sugar gets 100 to 0 despite being a beast with like 30% max HP, 6,000 base HP or something, and then 5 bajillion damage resist, and then a 5 million HP shield. Just whatever the hell that Eternal Sugar has for his defensive utility. Yeah, he sometimes gets one-tapped. If that happens on your own, I would recommend just resetting. If you quit out Alliance before wave 4, then you don't get any rewards, but you also don't use up your tray. Not tray, ticket. So after wave 4, get your healing skills off and swap to your team 2. And what you want to do is just Rebel Donut. That's it. Now, as long as, again, you don't use up your revive, and you kill waves 5 and 6, then that team has already done its job. and then we swap back to Team 1, and we will be staying on Team 1 until hopefully wave 20. Well, until you clear it. So back on the stalling thing, I believe the easy waves to stall on are 1, 3, what else? 9. And 10 and 11 are a bit tricky, depends on your stats. You could stall on 10 and 11, but I don't think I did. Or maybe I just stalled for one stack and then let it be. You could also stall on this wave, especially when there's only 2 or 1 mob left, because that really lowers the damage. Plus, the golem has a long windup, so it often gets interrupted by Stormbringer's overcurrent. So we have wave 8, and this is the first boss that you can actually stun with Eternal Sugar. So the boss will do 3 swipes and then jump back and then do a beam. So you want to use Eternal Sugar just as the boss is about to do its 3rd swipe, and then that should cancel the boss's beam, and then let it heal next. Yep. I am a bit late on this one because I didn't realize that I cancelled the 2nd swipe. But yeah, that's why you need a high cooldown on Eternal Sugar, because if you do, that means that you can actually get in 2 Eternal Sugar skills within each, like, beam rotation, so to speak. Here, I saw that the boss was actually, like, really low, so I just gambled and hoped that I could kill the boss before it did another beam attack, because my Stormbringer was also getting insanely low. I also got really lucky here because Black Lemonade's cooldown was very off, but somehow I still managed to keep my ERS stacks. Yeah, it's a full stall on wave 9, and it also really helps because there are healing mobs, there's Herb and there's Clover. So you actually get extra stall by not using Eternal Sugar or Stormbringer. Plus, there's no damage being dealt, so you get to actually full heal your Stormbringer back up, which is really nice. You could also do this in other Alliance seasons if there's like a wall. That wall mob with like 10 billion health. Yeah, that'll be nice. So a decent amount of stacks there, and after I used my last Black Lemonade skill, I did actually use Eternal Sugar and Stormbringer, because I did want to confirm that I'm gonna reach the next wave, and my ERS is not gonna time out while I'm walking there. Got super lucky here. I think that run would have ended if it wasn't for the fact that I just got the Black Lemonade skill just in time. I did decide to stall this wave, but I did open with Eternal Sugar because sometimes the worms can just dig and then nuke your Black Lemonade, so just as a insurance policy basically. So now we have the Pitaya boss. You definitely will have the damage, but you won't have the survivability maybe. So pay attention to the timer. It starts at 5:54, and I'm holding Eternal Sugar until 5:50. 4 seconds after the wave starts, you need to press Eternal Sugar, because that will cancel the beam attack, and Black Lemonade lives. And then afterwards, it's just spam Eternal Sugar, because luckily it syncs up with a bunch of other attacks, like a slam and then I believe another beam. I'm actually not too sure. But yeah, if your stats are bad, you can't one-shot if you can't one-shot Pitaya, and you sure as hell can't out-heal it, then you need that timing. See? And it syncs up with the next beam, and eventually, slowly but surely, and 21 ERS stacks, you can actually clear Pitaya, even with my admittedly pretty bad stats. I believe my fountain is like level 30 or 25 when I cleared it. Now this is a bit of a problem stage. Your timing needs to be on point because of the increased cooldown, which means you barely have any leeway for your Black Lemonade's ERS. Basically, whenever your Black Lemonade skill goes off cooldown when you have about 35%, you have like 1 or 2 seconds before your ERS times out. And it also really sucks because your healers get the increased cooldown, so that makes living a bit of a pain. And next we have the Stardust boss. Honestly, this boss isn't that difficult if you have this comp because Stormbringer is bulky, Eternal Sugar is bulky, and can cleanse burn from herself, so which means all of the emergency heals are going to back lemonade, but you also have Pure Vanilla, which is cleansing out the injury. So it's not too bad, and honestly, with the Stardust Plus, if you're struggling to this one but you can beat Wave 12, practice on Trade 28. I've had so much Trade 28 practice for my other videos, and also clearing Trade 28 on this account, that I actually semi-memorized the boss's attack patterns and know whenever the boss is vulnerable or not. So yeah, if you're struggling to this boss but you can reach this boss, then I would highly recommend practicing on Trade 28 on Decadent Choco Tower. And after this boss, then you are home free. The rest of the waves are really easy, and if by some miracle, well, some anti-miracle, you lose out on your ERS stacks, you can honestly just build it back up. There's nothing too threatening on this stage. And I also don't know why, but suddenly there's a ton of lag, but you're in the home strike, it doesn't matter. And congratulations, you've beaten Hero Mode. I believe this season, people are saying that it's quite easy, but also quite tricky, simultaneously. But, oh well. Knowing that Eternal Sugar can actually key some bosses, I'm wondering how difficult the next season can be. So, builds, as I said earlier, and the proper builds that I'm actually using for this clear are as follows. Full crit and damage resist on Stormbringer, cooldown because that's just a beast crit I rolled on her. Full crit, full cooldown on Eternal Sugar and damage resist. Full cooldown, elect damage, attack, and damage resist on Black Lemonade. Full damage resist on Pure Vanilla because he needs to live. He can actually die to Pitaya if you're not careful. And 25 amp buff, as much cooldown as possible on Marshmallow Bunny. And you can run anything here. You can express your team building skills creatively on Team 2 as long as you have 100% defense down and a competent DPS. Anyway, see ya, like, subscribe, do all that stuff, and stay tuned for other new account videos.